There is a war happening inside your body right now, and most people have no idea it is even taking place. It is not being fought with weapons or words. It is being fought with emotions, specifically the ones you have been carrying for years, without realizing how deeply they are reshaping your biology. Every time you replay an old grudge, spiral into worry, or shrink under the weight of shame, your nervous system responds as if you are standing in front of a predator. Your heart rate climbs, stress hormones flood your bloodstream, your immune system takes a hit, and over time, this invisible war begins to show up in your body as fatigue, illness, anxiety, and a persistent sense that something is deeply wrong, even when life on the surface looks fine. The truth is, 7 specific toxic emotions are silently hijacking your nervous system, and understanding them is the first step toward genuine healing. Not the kind of healing that requires sheer willpower or forcing yourself to think positive, but the kind rooted in actual biology and neuroscience. The first emotion is chronic resentment. When you hold on to resentment, you are not punishing the person who hurt you. You are punishing your own nervous system. Resentment keeps your brain locked in a threat response, continuously signaling danger even when the original event is long over. Your body releases cortisol and adrenaline in response to these mental replays, the same stress hormones triggered by real physical threats. Over time, this chronic activation wears down your adrenal glands, disrupts your sleep, inflames your gut, and weakens your immune response. Research in psychoneuroimmunology has consistently shown that people who carry long-term resentment have measurably higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. Resentment does not live only in your mind. It lives in your tissues, your muscles, your organs. Releasing it is not about excusing what happened to you. It is about reclaiming your own physiology. The second emotion is perfectionism, and it is one of the most socially rewarded forms of nervous system dysregulation in existence. Perfectionism is not high standards. It is chronic low-grade fear disguised as ambition. When you operate from perfectionism, your brain is constantly scanning for what is wrong, what is not enough, what could go badly. This keeps your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight branch, in a near constant state of activation. Your cortisol levels remain elevated. Your body never fully enters the parasympathetic rest and digest state, where actual healing and restoration occur. Over time, perfectionism contributes to burnout, adrenal fatigue, disrupted hormonal cycles, and a nervous system so wired that relaxation itself starts to feel threatening. The perfectionist brain does not know how to rest because rest feels like falling behind, and falling behind feels like danger. Breaking free from perfectionism is not about lowering your standards. It is about teaching your nervous system that you are safe even when things are imperfect. The third emotion is a victim mentality, which is different from acknowledging genuine hardship. Victim mentality is a chronic psychological orientation where the nervous system becomes addicted to helplessness. When you consistently see yourself as someone things happen to, rather than someone who can respond and adapt, your brain begins to suppress the production of dopamine and serotonin, the neurochemicals associated with motivation, agency, and well-being. At the same time, your stress response remains chronically activated because the perceived world feels threatening and uncontrollable. This creates a neurological loop that is genuinely difficult to escape without conscious intervention. The body of someone living in victim mentality is a body under constant low-level siege. Shifting out of this pattern is not about denying pain. It is about reclaiming the part of your brain that believes in your capacity to respond, which is the prefrontal cortex, the seat of agency and choice. The fourth emotion is chronic worry. Worry is the mind's attempt to control an uncertain future, but the nervous system cannot distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one. When you worry, your amygdala fires as if the feared event is actually happening. Stress hormones are released. Your heart rate increases. Your digestion slows. Your immune system is suppressed. And because worry is often repetitive and looping, this physiological stress response gets triggered again and again throughout the day, sometimes dozens of times, over events that never actually occur. Chronic worry has been linked to elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep architecture, impaired memory consolidation, and increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The worrying mind believes it is being responsible and prepared, but the body experiences it as being under continuous attack. Learning to interrupt the worry cycle is not a matter of willpower. It requires specific nervous system regulation tools that shift the brain out of threat mode and into a state of grounded presence. The fifth emotion is suppressed anger. Many people were taught that anger is dangerous, inappropriate, or unacceptable. So instead of processing it, they swallowed it. But suppressed anger does not disappear. It goes underground, where it continues to activate the stress response chronically and silently. Research has shown that people who habitually suppress anger have significantly higher rates of hypertension, autoimmune conditions, and chronic pain. The body holds what the mind refuses to feel. Suppressed anger creates chronic muscular tension, particularly in the jaw, neck, shoulders, and chest. It disrupts the vagal tone, which is the measure of your parasympathetic nervous system's ability to regulate your heart rate and promote calm. Expressing anger does not mean acting it out destructively. It means allowing the emotion to move through your body in safe, intentional ways, through movement, breath, sound, or therapeutic processing, so that your nervous system can finally complete the stress cycle it has been stuck in. The sixth emotion is shame and self-resentment, and it may be the most physiologically damaging of all. Shame is not guilt. Guilt says you did something wrong. Shame says you are something wrong. When shame becomes a chronic internal state, it activates the same neural threat circuits as external danger, but with nowhere to run and no way to fight. The body collapses inward. Cortisol and adrenaline surge. The immune system is suppressed. Research by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio and others has shown that chronic shame is associated with dysregulation of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the central stress response system of the body. Self-resentment keeps you in a perpetual state of internal conflict, where your own nervous system treats you as the enemy. Healing shame requires not just cognitive reframing, but somatic work, compassion practices, and nervous system regulation that helps the body learn, at a cellular level, that it is safe to exist. The seventh emotion is fear of the future. Unlike worry, which tends to be specific and repetitive, fear of the future is a broader existential dread, a background hum of anxiety about what is coming, what could go wrong, whether you will be okay. This kind of fear keeps the nervous system in a chronic state of anticipatory stress. The body is always bracing, always preparing for impact. Cortisol remains elevated. The vagus nerve, which is responsible for social connection, digestion, and emotional regulation, becomes dysregulated. Sleep suffers. Creativity diminishes. The immune system weakens. Fear of the future disconnects you from the present moment, which is the only place where your nervous system can actually find safety and regulation. Here is the most important thing to understand about everything described in this video. Healing from these toxic emotional patterns is not a matter of willpower or positive thinking. It is a matter of biology and neuroscience. When you learn to regulate your nervous system through breathwork, somatic practices, mindfulness, safe social connection, movement, and sleep, something remarkable happens at a physiological level. Your cortisol levels drop. Your vagal tone improves. Your body shifts from chronic sympathetic activation into parasympathetic restoration. Hormones rebalance. Inflammation decreases. The prefrontal cortex comes back online, giving you access to clarity, creativity, and genuine choice. Your gut heals. Your immune system strengthens. Your sleep deepens. The emotions that once hijacked your biology begin to lose their grip, not because you forced them away, but because your nervous system finally learned that it is safe. This is not metaphor. This is measurable, reproducible physiology. The body wants to heal. It is designed to heal. What it needs is not more discipline or more effort. What it needs is regulation, safety, and the understanding that your emotional life and your physical health are not separate systems. They are one system, and when you tend to one, you transform the other.